Alright, welcome back to the channel, and I wasn't planning on doing this video, but it seems like there's a lot of relevant news to the Patriots and for today in week 5, and so we're going to be doing kind of two different topics in today's episode. The first topic, which came out earlier this morning as of me recording this video, Robert Saleh has been fired from the Jets. I think this is an interesting topic because Robert Saleh, again, getting fired only 5 games into the season, this team has aspirations to be in the Super Bowl and to win it. That's what they built this roster around Aaron Rodgers. And the feeling for the Jets has been, I would say, for the last couple years is if this team had any semblance of offense, they would be a playoff team every single year because of how dominant the defense has been in the past. And I mean, the Jets have had historically bad offenses. I mean, last year was just horrendous to watch. And that's why so many people that are Jets fans so optimistic that Aaron Rodgers, comes in this year, came in last year and unfortunately got injured, but there was so much optimism going into this Jets team because Aaron Rodgers doesn't even need to play at an MVP level. He just needs to play at like an average level and kind of protect the football, and this team will easily have 10, 11 wins by the end of the season. So when this firing comes out, you look at the Jets, they're 2-3, and they're only 1 game back from first place, and Monday will probably decide who will be leading early on in the season. The thing I really hate about Saleh's firing is it just feels like this is a scapegoat, right? Saleh, if you look at everything that he's done, he is he has done his job. You hire a defensive coach, you expect that defensive head coach to make your defense, elite or to build them up to add some relevance to why you picked a defensive head coach. And so Robert Saleh, in my opinion, has done everything right. Their defense has been elite for the last few years, within the top 5, top 10 best defenses in the NFL, even through injuries. And so I look at this and I go, are we really saying that the problem with the Jets has been Saleh and the defense? Or is this just a petty Aaron Rodgers doesn't like Saleh, so that's why he got fired? If you look at the game that they ended up losing this past Sunday, it had nothing to do with the defense. The defense held this Vikings offense, which has been pretty good all throughout the season. Sam Darnold has had more than 2 passing touchdowns in every game leading up to that game. And the Jets defense kept them in the game, right? The second half, after adjustments, the Jets defense came in and closed the door on that Vikings offense. The reason that the team lost was because Aaron Rodgers threw 3 interceptions. This offense looks stale. Aaron Rodgers looks like he's taken a pretty big step back in terms of his athletic ability, which is not a huge surprise, right? He's into his 40s now. He's coming off a really big injury last season. He does not look like the same Aaron Rodgers. That's not to say he still doesn't have a great arm and that he has, the game knowledge, all that stuff, but this offense looks out of date. It looks like an out of date offense that is not adapting to offenses right now. And so the real question I have with this firing is, why is all the blame seemingly being put on Saleh? I get it, he's the head coach, but if you look at someone like Bill Belichick, right? He was somebody always handling the defense. That was his side of the ball. Tom Brady's side of the ball was offense, and those two kind of did their own thing, right? That's what should have been happening here. Saleh was delivering on his end. Aaron Rodgers has just not done that. And, we can project by the end of the season where Aaron Rodgers is going to be, where this Jets team should be. But as of right now, they have 2 wins. One to New England, who I've talked about at length is probably the worst team in the NFL right now. That is the only game in which Aaron Rodgers and the Jets offense had looked like it had any type of life. The other game they won was to a Titans team that also favors to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. When they've gone up against teams with, winning records or teams that seem like they could be good, they have faltered, right? The Broncos are showing a lot of promise this season. The Jets score 9 points against them. 49ers came out and destroyed the Jets in week 1. Even this past game, Vikings looking really good so far to start the season. They beat up the Jets pretty good throughout the entirety of the game. The Jets were just clearly outplayed. Even though they had a chance to win the game in the end, it felt like the Vikings controlled that game for the most part. And so I look at this and I go, it just feels like Saleh got thrown under the bus and Aaron Rodgers just didn't like him very much. That seems to be evident. So let's move on to our second topic. Drake Maye, later on today, I think only about an hour after I'm recording this, Drake Maye was announced the starter. And so Drake Maye is going to be coming in week 6, having to play this Houston Texans team. And this worries me a lot. And I was kind of, speculating on this when I did my video about the game on Sunday for New England. This is a pretty scary game to me to be putting Drake May into because you think about the pass rushers that the Texans have. And you think about New England, their offensive line so far has been horrendous. Pass blocking has been a disaster so far this season. And now you put it up against, the Texans who have two premier pass rushers in Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter. And, the Texans defense has been off and on throughout the season so far, but they just came off of really shutting down the Bills offense almost entirely. I know the game was close at the end, but Houston seemed like they had that game pretty much controlled for the most part. And so you have New England, who has far less talent than the Bills do. I really don't know how I feel about Drake May starting this week. I think maybe we should have waited another week or two until we had a bit more of a favorable matchup. I really thought that it would have made a lot of sense for Drake May to start against the Jaguars as we play them soon. But the Texans, you come in and, I think it's an interesting time to start him. And I think it's just Gerard Mayo, I think, probably felt the pressure of not only the owner, Kraft, but I think also from the fans, right? This is a New England, team that has, we were a couple of years now out of the dynasty, right? But this fan base and this, team and organization still expects excellence. And as of right now, the obvious issue right now is the quarterback position. Now, it's not the only issue, right? I've talked about this at lengths, right? We have an offensive line that is pretty off and on. It's pretty bad, probably in the bottom 5 of the NFL right now in terms of pass blocking. Run blocking is a different animal. I would say we have a decent run blocking offensive line, but pass blocking is horrendous. We have basically no weapons that can get down the field. We have a lot of number 2, number 3 guys. Nobody has really emerged. I think Jalen Polk has shown signs that he could maybe step up and be, a bit better, but with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback, just hasn't allowed him to really evolve yet and see what we really have in Jalen Polk. And if you even think about, the last game against Miami, Jalen Polk had a couple opportunities, but Jacoby Brissett was just very inaccurate on Sunday. And I think that was the thing that really tipped Gerard Mayo over, is that if you're bringing in somebody like Brissett, right, the things that you're looking for, especially as a veteran, is veteran leadership. You're looking for him to not turn the ball over a lot, not making stupid mistakes, but also to be somewhat accurate with the football. And he just has not done that. He has not been accurate whatsoever since coming into this job. We will see how Drake May does against the Texans. I don't have big expectations. I just want to see him, at least show some signs of life and growth and some elements of being a great quarterback. But let me know what you guys think. How do you guys think Drake May is going to do against the Texans? One thing that could also attribute to helping with our bad offensive line is Drake May is much more mobile than Brissett is. So maybe that could play a factor. But I hope you guys all enjoy, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.